Hi, it's Naila here speaking on behalf of NISA. In this video, I'm going to talk specifically about the impact of words that an abuser could have said during sexual abuse and the beliefs that we may have made as a result and how they can affect our lives unless we wake up to what's going on. When a child is abused by an adult, and the adult says it's their fault or they're doing it because they want it or for whatever reason, whatever they tell an adult, the child doesn't know what they've done wrong, and it's only got the emotional intelligence of a child. So it's natural that a child starts to conclude it's my fault in some way, or that they're right and I'm wrong. And I know in my own experience, I definitely thought it was my fault. I must have done something because this person is doing these bad things to me. And even if you don't know what sexual abuse is, your body knows. You know what's being done to you is not okay. And I remember listening to a interview by an American actress called Terry Hatcher. And she used to star in a series called Desperate Housewives. And she was doing an interview and she shared how she'd been sexually abused by her uncle between the age of 5 and 8. And she never told anybody. And it wasn't until she was an adult she found out that he'd gone on to sexually abuse lots of other girls. And one girl in particular had written a note saying that's what he had done to her, and then she killed herself. And as a result, she went to the police and, he was arrested and got 14 years in prison. But what's relevant about her story is this, that she said that I remembered everything that happened to me, but there's just one thing that still haunts me. She said, when he was abusing me and touching me, he said to her, "Do you like what I'm doing?" And she said, "No." And he said to her, "Yeah, but in time you will." And she said that when she became an adult and she was married and she had a child, she said that she knew exactly which day her child had been conceived because she knew she'd only had sex 5 times in her marriage. And the reason for that was that she was afraid to enjoy sex because if she did, he was right. Now that one thought hijacked her marriage and hijacked her sex life. And that's the power of thoughts. And beliefs. Beliefs are just thoughts we've had over and over again. And if we don't see that, they can continue to, move with us throughout life. And I know it happened to me when I was 7, but I was an adult in my 20s, still carrying that belief and not even knowing that it was somehow my fault. I remember I was flying for an airline and I used to go and see this guy who used to do the rotors for our flights and things. And he was Asian and like me. And he kind of took me, under his wings. And he was a grandfather, he was married, he had children, grandchildren. And I went to see him one day to sort out my flights for going home. And he wasn't there. So I just wrote, "I came and didn't see you and I missed you," meaning our paths didn't cross. But he took that to mean that I missed him. And he made up some story in his mind that I was interested in him. And then he just bombarded me with love letters and just harassed me. And, Instead of saying, I don't know where you got that from, I'm not interested in you. Please do not contact me. Do not send me letters with other, stewardesses and get them put under my door. I'm not interested. I blamed myself. I thought it was my fault that I wrote the sentence the way I did. And that's what beliefs can do. We've got to wake up to beliefs that don't serve us and know if we made them, and are we still carrying them through our lives, because they don't serve us. And no matter what was said, good, bad or ugly, it was never your fault. I remember Oprah saying in an interview how one of the guys that abused her said to her, "You're such a smart girl. You're so smart." And she so needed to hear that. She so wanted to believe that. And here this guy who she thought liked her, was saying all the nice things, was abusing her. And that's what abusers do. They groom you, they look for your weaknesses, they look for your neediness, they look if you need attention, they look to see if you're quiet, they look to see if you're likely to tell, and they manipulate you. They know what to say, good, bad or ugly, to get their way with you. And we can't do anything about it, what happened, but we can certainly become awake to beliefs that don't serve us, and certainly not take them with us in our lives. That, each and every one of us has permission to have healthy lives, healthy sex lives, to enjoy our lives and not let experiences like that contaminate us against ourselves. And within the feelings that show up in situations where these kind of beliefs are concerned, there's a lot of guilt and there's a lot of shame. And I want to unpick those two things. One is, understand guilt is usually associated with behavior. So if you do something wrong, it's easy to go, "Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake." But when we feel shame, we don't say, "I made a mistake." We go, "I am the mistake." And we can't even speak about it because shame thrives on silence, on judgment, and what's the third one? Silence, judgment, and secrecy, of course. It was so secret, I couldn't remember it. Yeah, so we can't, we feel too ashamed. When we feel ashamed about something, we can't even speak about it. So become aware of any beliefs you've made and realize nothing that was said, good, bad or ugly, by the abuser was true, that it was your fault or that you contributed to something. It wasn't in your hands. You're a child. What do you know? So think about anything that does take you to that place, or if it's this old belief that hangs around, and if anything goes wrong, you go to it. "Oh, I must have done something wrong." No, check it out. Wake up to it. And be willing to let it go and be alert to the fact that I have that belief. So if anything happens, I'm going to keep an eye on that, because it's not true. Because when we're blaming ourselves, we can't stand up and do what we need to do because we think we did something wrong. I couldn't say to him, "Leave me alone." I was just ashamed. I was embarrassed. I couldn't tell anybody about it. Now, in my right mind, of course I would say, "Listen, I don't know where you got that thought from, but it's not true, and please leave me alone. And if you don't, I'm going to do something about it." But I couldn't. because the belief was still having me. So give yourself a break. Let go of beliefs that don't serve you. Wake up to those that you're still holding on to, and let those go. And stand tall in your right to be yourself and to live the life that you deserve, regardless of what's happened, regardless of what was said. They may have hijacked our lives as a child. They're not going to hijack them now. Do not give yourself the permission to let somebody else's thoughts contaminate your being. And know that you can trust your own wisdom and know what to do. And that's on you. And nobody can take that away from you, no matter what they said, and no matter how many times they said it. It's not true. You are innocent. You were then and you are now. Okay, so I hope this was helpful, and if there's anything around sexual abuse you would like some more understanding on, feel free to contact me, write to me in confidence. And if it affects you, it's likely to affect other people, and I will do my best to do a video specifically addressing that issue. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.